Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Tobin Walsh, and welcome to the Daddy
Daughter
Dance. I'm a top parenting blogger. I write at goodbaddad.com, but more importantly to me, I spend about 20 minutes a week taping this podcast with my beautiful, talented, and lovely daughter, Viviana, who's 10 years old. Say hi to your peeps, Viv.
Hey!
Alright, always bring the energy, right?
Yeah.
So listen, speaking of energy, there's a lot of energy in this house. Vivi has 4 siblings. My wife lives here, just outside of our new fancy studio, and every now and again you can catch her on the microphone because I can sometimes hear her screaming at the other kids from the other room. So that's an endeavor of its own. But I wanted to talk about today, so we didn't do any research. We usually have Vivi do research and she brings a bunch of knowledge to us.
I didn't even know we were doing this podcast till like 20 minutes ago.
Yeah, other than the fact that we do this every week at about the same time.
Yeah.
Yeah, so anyways, what I wanted to do is, so what happens a lot in this house, because there's so many people going all these different directions, is there's a lot of arguing that goes on. What do you think?
A lot.
How do arguments usually go?
If like you're annoying someone, they like it starts with like stop, and then you say I don't have to,
So
and then they're like, well, you're not the boss, and then that keeps saying like you're not the boss. Well, I'm telling you to stop because it's annoying.
well, let's take it one by one from a dad's point of view. So my kids are between 13 and 3, so all different diversity of ages, tons of different issues going on, lots of busyness, 2 busy parents that work, go to school, etc. So what happens usually is a bickering fight comes up, and then it turns into screaming, which turns into telling, which turns into more screaming, which turns into moms and dads yelling. That's pretty much a good summary, right?
Yeah.
So what I thought we would do is, instead of researching stuff, I want Vivi to understand like how to make an argument. So like, not an argument, let's call it a debate.
Yeah.
Because it's like a more civilized thing. It's not like a bickering between siblings. It's more like an opinion.
Yeah.
Supported by fact. Right?
Mm-hmm.
Do you have like a debate team or like mock trial at school? Have you ever heard of that?
No.
I remember the first time I was in a mock trial team, and it's like where you act like you're lawyers. It's almost like a play, but you're a lawyer.
Yeah.
Dude, I loved it. It was like debating. You took a side. You just went after the other people. It was great. Like went after them in terms of with words.
Do your anger, like let out your anger.
No, not anger. It was like you just believed in something, right? And then you just went after it. So that's what I wanted to talk about with arguing. So what we're going to do is do a fun game. I made up a list where there's 2 choices. And what I'm going to ask you to do is, so there's been no research other than me writing down this list just from things I thought would be funny or cute or kind of fun and kid-like. So if you're a parent watching, bring your kids around. If they bicker back and forth and you want them to learn how to properly debate and how to make a solid argument, because arguing properly can actually help you out. Like let's say you wanted to go to a friend's house to spend the night, instead of going, why can't I go? Oh my God, you're so mean. Like maybe this will show you how to delicately handle the situation.
Yeah.
Can you think of any other times arguments might help?
Help?
Help you like get your way.
Well,
like you want to do something and I say
yeah,
no,
like,
you can make an argument that brings logic.
Yeah. So like say, I thought of an example, not like recent. So like an example, like to help like get your way is saying like, Dad, well you said like last week I had a sleepover one of these days.
Yeah, and I mean it's not about getting your way
Yeah.
in debates or arguments as much. It's about trying to get your point across. Because sometimes you leave arguments, you don't feel that satisfied. It's not like, I won that one. Yes, I won. Take that. Right? No. It is more about, hey, I got my opinion across. We may have agreed to disagree. Have you ever heard us say that? But you know where I stand, I know where you stand, and maybe we just can't get to the middle ground.
Yeah.
Or maybe we can and just agree to move on.
Mm-hmm.
The point is, make your argument, say your piece, get the reaction from the other people, get your decision, and then take it from wherever you want. So like with the game we're going to do, so I'm going to throw out 2 options. We'll go back and forth, and basically the first person gets the ability to pick which side they're on, and they get about 30 seconds to say why they're on that side. And so like for instance, I'm going to say, so Beyonce was the singer that we listened to on the way in today. So let's go, like an argument we could be had is better singer, Beyonce or Taylor Swift? And let's say you were first.
Beyonce.
Okay. So then you'd have 30 seconds to be like, Dad, Beyonce's a better singer because blah, blah, blah.
She's a pop song.
So along the way, while we do that, we'll stop after it and just kind of say, hey, what did we learn from that? Or how dumb did we sound, basically?
Yeah.
So let's go one by one. These are going to be fun. So basically, you can take it any way you want. I'll try to frame it so you know what we're trying to argue, but if I just throw
I
out
gotta get my
names...
thinking cap on to see what I want. Okay, thank you.
Thinking cap, alright. Cool.
I couldn't find mine, so he stole it.
Okay, so this is a good one. This kind of time let's go. Vivi started, she's our new gymnast. And so she started an individual sport, right? So let's go. Team sports are better for kids than individual sports. You go first. Which side?
There was no individual sports or team sports, basically.
Yeah. Which are better for kids to play? Team sports, which I would be like basketball or football, or individual sports would be like wrestling or gymnastics. You have 30 seconds.
Hard.
Okay, you gotta make a call. Let's go.
Okay, I got it.
Go.
So I think I would prefer individual because if you have a team, like you have to be basically controlling everybody. So if one person gets it wrong, everyone's gonna be yelling at you. Say I got it wrong. Like say I was in cheer and I fell during the pyramid at the end. Everyone would be mad, but in individual sports, you can basically do if you mess up. Wait, I'm not done.
All right, hurry up.
If you mess up, you gotta fix it. And for team, none of the other people, if you try to fix it, none of the other people know what you're doing, and they're all gonna be doing it.
So Vivi's picking individual sports because it's up to you to get the job done.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go team sports. Now listen, before I say team sports, listen to me clearly. Any sport kids do is great. Any activity kids do is great. More kids need to be involved with things and not video games. So that's what I said in my piece. I like team sports, and here's the deal. Team sports just naturally put you in places that develop friendships and social interaction and get you off the phone and off the communication during that way. It forces you for interpersonal communication that has my lifelong friends are all from sports. I say that all the time. I tell you kids all the time, I'm a team sports guy just because it builds such cool relationships. I haven't played team sports in how many years? 30 years? But some of my best friends to this day are from my teams.
Dad.
Okay, that's where I'm going. So let's take a pause.
Wait, I was going to say the exact reason if I picked team.
Okay. No, exactly. So, yeah, I mean, so time out. Let's learn from argument one, team sports versus individual. So, a couple things. Number one, Vivi just said, if I would have picked team, that's how I would have argued. So, one of the things you can do when you have a debate with somebody is try to think about how they are going to argue their point if it's the opposite of yours. And when you form your argument, you can even use that. You could have said, Dad, I know what you're going to say. You developed all your friendships in team sports. But listen to this. I am accountable to myself if I'm in an individual sport.
You have to trust yourself.
Yeah, so sometimes making your argument involves, hey, I know where Dad's going to go with this. I'm going to beat him to the punch. Now, the other thing I thought was very interesting is Vivi started her argument about going for individual sports by talking about why they were better than the other argument. So that's an interesting point of view. Instead of going, I like individual sports because they are this, what she did is did the opposite and said, because they aren't what that is. So what do you think that was effective?
Yeah.
Do you know how you could have changed that around?
Well, yeah, I could have said, I like individual sports because, you're just controlling yourself, and then you could have, done first individual and then teamwork.
I guess what I always try to, start a debate by, making clear how I feel about it before I go into, feeling to go attack the other side. Yeah. You know what I mean? Here's what I think, because I just need to own it.
Yeah.
So I think we can all agree I won that one.
No.
Okay.
In your dreams, then.
So debate number 2. Fun debate number 2 for kids. Let's do this one. Okay, I go first this time. Math class is better for kids than English class. So ELA.
Okay.
I'm going math. Here's why. Math is something that...
Wait, what if you're
No. I get to pick my side.
I know,
now you're on the other side. No. You have to be on the other side. This is for play.
Yeah. Oh, this is for the... So, if you agree with the other side, you still have to do this?
Yeah, so, this is like my mock trial where they give you a side and you let it rip. So I'm taking math, and here's why. Math builds on itself so much so that I still do math today that I learned, when I was your age.
That's his job.
That's my job.
That's job.
So when I love math because there's right answers, there's right and wrong, there's black and white, and for me, that's really comforting. End of story. Okay. defend ELA.
I like ELA because for ELA, there's like a whole bunch of stories you can read, and for ELA, like you basically never have a wrong answer. So like, well, sometimes you do, but like finding theme to a passage, there can be more than one answer to a problem, and math, there really can't be. So, and
I think it's interesting. So okay, no, I think that's the end of your time. But no, you did a better job that time, and you know why? Because you started off with like, this is what I feel about this argument, even though you may have even kind of thought, hey, I like math too. But
I like ELA better.
But the other thing too is, did you notice how
Actually,
you kind of used elements of my answer to like support your position? Because you said, hey, I like ELA because there's no right answer. Like, I just got done talking about how great it was that there was a right answer.
Yeah, I know.
That actually is a great way to argue and debate.
I really don't like right answers, because if you say something completely wrong, it's gonna be wrong. But for ELA, there's usually like 2 points in the question. So if you get like it slightly wrong, like you still get a point.
Yeah, that's cool. And I'm a writer, so I have to like English. I'm a writer that does math a lot. That's weird.
Do you actually like math better?
It's a tough one.
Yeah, it is, because like I'm really good at math. Not to be fair, I think.
Well, I'll give that one to Vivi. So we're 1-1.
I won.
Okay.
No, you didn't win last time.
Yeah.
It was in your dreams. You dreamed about that.
All right, so let's do this one. This would be interesting. And you're first. Better for girls to play with, American Girl dolls or Cabbage Patch dolls?
Oh, I got this.
Man, I'm out of my comfort zone. Go ahead.
I like American Girl dolls better because first, like American Girl dolls, like they can actually stand up and they have plastic legs, and they also have a million accessories. And for Cabbage Patch dolls,
No,
I know. I'm
okay,
just
go ahead.
defending
You have 10
myself.
seconds. Go ahead.
How already? Okay, Cabbage Patch dolls, they flop around and everything, and they if you try to put a shoe on them, their foot's just gonna be like, no, I don't want that shoe on.
Okay.
It goes everywhere.
My turn. So I'm gonna defend Cabbage Patch dolls, and not just because I'm an old man and Cabbage Patch dolls were like the rage when I was a kid.
Yeah.
For girls at least. But here's the deal. You know, we grew up. Your mom's grandmother did porcelain dolls, right? That American Girls are like the poor man's porcelain doll. We have to pay $100 for them, and then they sit on the counter somewhere because you can't mess up their hair. And once you mess up their hair, you're hosed. No? You have to take it to American Girl doll to give them another $50 so they can curl their hair again. For me, Cabbage Patch dolls are more durable because I think maybe you can't wash them. But they're, like you said, they're like bendy, so I don't have to worry about them falling off and breaking or denting or whatever. Well, and oh, by the way, the clothes are significantly more cheaper.
So what? The American Girl clothes they're cuter, and they have way more shoe options and accessories. And there's American Girl stores. Oh, Cabbage Patch doll stores.
Yeah, you're right. They've created like a good branding on American Girl. And I don't have any problem with American Girl.
I get why they're $100 though.
Because we'll pay it. That's why they're $100.
No,
if we say
it's
we're not
not
paying
like
that anymore,
that.
we'll pay it. Okay, so time out for argument number 3. So here's what I'll say. One of the things that I always think about in arguments is the way to...
Is there any more?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But here's what I would say too. One of the things I learned, and one of the things I want you to learn, is the best way to make an argument is to be as concise as possible. Do you know what concise means?
No.
It means basically you say what you feel, you make your point, and then you be quiet. So instead of going round and round and round, like have you ever been in an argument and it's like, oh my god, if this guy would only give me a chance to talk, maybe a podcast. but no, to be concise is like, here's my point.
That no, you every Wednesday when he talks way too much.
No, I'm all fired up.
Well, you don't let me talk at all.
Well, it's a good lesson for me then too, because I have a tendency to go on and on.
Yes,
too.
You do.
Yep.
You could do a podcast for literally 24 hours if you.
But the other thing too is, you notice after I made my argument, Vivi did what I would call like a rebuttal, and that was, hey, I'm going to now take what you said and expand upon why I think mine is still better. And you know, if you go back and forth, that can be sort of victory. Yeah. Like if you're in like a civilized argument where you're trying to make a point, it's hard to go back and forth without somebody getting really irritated.
Yeah, I know.
But
I
if
think
you do that, I think the key is just to kind of do it calmly and like acknowledge that you want to say something.
Okay, but I think something different and not saying, well, I'm right because...
Yeah, you're right. And that's another lesson is like, you can't attack people, right?
I think I won this.
Okay, we'll give that one to Vivi. Is that 2-1? 2-1?
Yeah, well, 3-1. But you have one in your dream, so I'll give you.
Okay. Well, then it'll be 3-0, but let's go 2-1. Okay, next one. This is in my comfort zone here. Let's go. Am I first? Yeah, I'm first. Superman or Batman? I'm going Superman all day, all night, all day and night. For one reason. The biggest superpower in the world that I would love to have is flying. And I'm telling you, no amount of kryptonite can sway me from this opinion because I would fly. I would fly all over the world constantly.
Fly.
All right, you
Batman?
go.
So I would prefer Batman because he has a giant cape. Well, all superheroes do. And I want him just like, oh, and then he can run, I say.
Oh, Batman has all.
I don't know about Batman. I only know about super.
So Vivi's trying your best to make an argument where she doesn't have it.
I think he won this one.
You know what I would have said for Batman? I would have said he has all the cool toys.
He does.
The Batmobile, dude.
Batmobile.
Batmobile, man. You rolled down the street in the
But
Batmobile.
I couldn't do this argument because I would prefer Superman because I want to fly.
So what could you learn from this? You know what you can learn is that if you don't have a strong opinion, why argue? Right? Because
I like
some people try to pick fights, right? And some people feel compelled to engage people in fights. But if I don't have a strong opinion about something, I'm one of those guys that's like, I'm good.
I'm good.
It's a good point, right?
Yeah.
All right. And the final argument.
It's my comfort zone, isn't it?
I don't know. I don't know if it's anybody's comfort zone. It's a funny new story, which I don't know if you even know. So let's do this. Baby and I are going to break the tie. The daddy-daughter dance is going to break the tie about which spicy chicken sandwich is better. Which chicken sandwich is better? Popeyes or Chick-fil-A? Go, Vivi.
Chick-fil-A! 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 All the way! Chick-fil-A! Chick-fil-A is the best fast food restaurant there ever created. And Chick-fil-A is amazing. Chick-fil-A is the best chicken. That's why it's called chicken fillet. That's what most people call it.
Yeah, so I can't argue with that. First of all, Popeyes ran out of chicken sandwiches, so they're out anyways. They're out. And number two, Chick-fil-A, I'm gluten-free, and kudos to Chick-fil-A for doing a gluten-free chicken sandwich. So how can you argue with that?
I know.
Right?
Chick-fil-A
so there's some
all the way.
So
I haven't even had Popeyes. I don't even care. I would never have Popeyes.
And maybe that's the lasting lesson you leave with people about arguing or debating civilly is that if it's just a hands-down unanimous decision, why bother?
Yeah, I know.
Just let your child have the chicken sandwich and move on. Right?
We need to go Chick-fil-A more often, Dad.
Okay, sounds good. Deal. So what did you learn about arguing today? What are some keys?
Well,
don't get emotional. Have your facts straight.
Well, and if you agree with the other person, don't argue.
That's a good one. And I would say the tally is Vivi 3, Daddy 2. So with that, Vivi wins another one. We appreciate you joining. I'll tell you what.
Just like everyone.
Vivi wins most of the time. But come back next week, show your kids a video, talk to them about proper debating, and maybe they'll convince you to do something that they want to do that you initially didn't want to, right? Right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yes.
Well, we appreciate you joining as always. Please subscribe and let us know any episodes you're willing to see.
Hit the notification button.
And we will see you soon. Thanks for joining the Daddy
Daughter
Dance. Take care, everybody. Have a good week.